all-time favorites here on Fight Bananas, Felicia Spencer. It's here. It's Fight Week. We've been talking about this for so long, almost like years in the making in a way. How are you feeling mentally and physically, first of all?
I'm feeling great. I'm super excited. Get to leave tomorrow on Tuesday to Vegas, and it's finally here. It's big week, big day this Saturday. So we made it.
Absolutely. And also we've talked about it so much too, off air and on air. Different venues, different dates. When is this fight going to happen? Seems like even after you win up there in Virginia, it was like, hey, am I going to fight or not? It just seems like it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for the last 90 days, especially with the corona pandemic involved with it. How good does it feel finally? It's all that's over. All that's kind of behind you. It's fight week. It's you versus Amanda for the UFC Featherweight Championship of the world. How does that feel?
It's definitely been a long road, but the preparation involved has been on point, and I'm really just grateful for the people around me to be able to take their ride with me, and we stayed focused the whole time.
Right.
Immediately after my last fight, and we were focused on the possibility and then the reality of fighting Amanda, and then with the postponement and everything, we've just been on the ball.
Right. I would love you to kind of dive in a little bit more if you want to. The people around you, of course, Jungle MMA and Fitness, a couple of the training partners. I just saw recently, I think your husband has a little bit of a hurt thumb, if I'm not mistaken. So how does it feel to kind of have, seems like you've had a great, environment around you, a great team around you, a great support system. And how vital is that for you, your career, and also for this camp especially?
I mean, it's super important to have the right people around you and to put yourself in the right position. But yeah, we've since the beginning of the pandemic, I didn't have any training partners that I took to live with me, but there was two, Megan and Drew from the gym that I picked to be my training partners for their skill sets and their body types and everything. Right. To semi-quarantine, we were okay, well, we're not living together, but we are going to come together, and we need to be responsible for ourselves we're trusting each other to not be exposing, more than necessary amounts. So we were lucky enough to have access to privately go into the gym. The owners, Mike and Seth, are fully behind, the fight, and they wanted it to happen as much as I did. So just the gym, the training partners, my husband obviously also, just a huge, it's all part of the road to get there. And the incident with his wrist, his arm being hurt, is not related to me. So although it's probably going to be fun to joke about that a little bit.
Absolutely. The gyms open up for one day, Todd, one day.
Right. It wasn't even at the gym. Because we're still, even though the gym is open they have modified regular classes, I'm not being a part of any of that. I just want to be able to tell the UFC that I did every step, everything that I could to avoid people. Even with the gym being open, we're doing off hours training with the still very limited amount of people. I mean, just basically Megan and Drew and maybe one other person here and there. So, we're still doing everything we can to quarantine and to kind of treat it the same, because, I want to be able to say that, should we turn up positive, which I really don't think we will. It would be heartbreaking, but I want to be able to say I did everything I could to avoid it,
right.
and not let that happen. So.
Of course, that's how crazy is that to even think about.
To show up and then to not be able to fight, that would be crazy. But that's not something that we can control right now. I'm just doing everything I can do. Everything I can control is what I'm focused on.
Right. And now I'm actually going to cut out the last 20 seconds. I'm not even going to put that in the atmosphere.
Okay, cool.
Also, too, tell me you guys filmed 20 straight days of you, Megan, and Drew. Spicy Killer and Phenom all in a room, training, eating. That's good content right there.
It was pay-per-view worthy, but no, nothing was filmed. It's cool because like everything that we've been doing has been so intentional. Like every moment we're at the gym is like there's such an intent behind it, and they're really like it's kind of like all about me right now. It's kind of crazy because they don't have anything lined up, so it's like everyone's just like, yeah, we're gonna stay fresh for you. So it's like I'll do a round with Megan, a round with Drew, and they're getting those rest periods. So like it's always a fresh person, and they're just enjoying the show when it's not their turn. It's like it's been fun. It's been creative. It's been enjoyable to watch, or I guess while I'm going, it's enjoyable to hear the reactions of how things are going.
Wow,
it's
incredible.
Cool.
That sounds great. Okay, so Amanda Nunes, a lot of people think the greatest female fighter alive today. Some think the greatest female fighter of all time. And I kind of looked into it. I love to me, there's three major upsets, I guess, in a way of like kind of old school UFC. With Weidman to Anderson Silva, we have Matt Serra to GSP, and of course Connor to Jose at the time. Aldo was 17 straight and all that stuff. Have you like kind of thought about that kind of upset mind, or have you thought about maybe even reach out to them, especially maybe like Weidman, to see what he had to do to, at that time, it feels like Anderson Silva and Amanda Nunes has a lot of, similarities, just kind of going through, major names. And it seems like, how we've talked about it, and I've talked to Megan about it. I love your spot in this. I love your Rudy underdog grit. I love all of it. So have you had that kind of upset mind going into this fight?
I mean, that's our expectation and our belief that we're gonna pull it out.
Right.
I know a lot of people wouldn't see it happening, but I'm also not. I can't like try to force something, or I haven't really thought about like other upsets and try to compare to how they prepared, or I don't think that there's a blueprint to upsetting a legend. I think it's just you have to be you, and
right.
My version of myself. The version of me that shows up on fight night on Saturday has to be her. And and that's what I've been preparing for. I feel amazing. I mean, like, I was ready to go on May 9th, so the fact that she needed time to get a training camp in, and I just got more reps in, just makes us feel even better about what we've been doing. And the extra month hasn't been a plateau. We've been steady improving the whole time. So yeah, so it's a long training camp, but we've been really smart about not peaking too early, not just listening to my body, recovering when I need to, and it's kind of crazy. I really was concerned, for like 5 minutes when it got postponed, like how I would work around training, but then I'm like, this is just I'm not going to dwell on things I can't control, so I'm going to just find solutions, not look at the problems, so. In hindsight, it has just been steady rising, honestly.
That's awesome. It's a championship mindset for sure. A couple more questions for you, a couple more kind of topics. It is fight week, UFC 250. I love that number, a good round number. We've talked too about Cyborg, the whole Cyborg fight, how you wanted that fight for years in a way, got it. And it was such a moral victory. Everyone that we know, and of course the brass of UFC, were like, oh my goodness, like Amanda. That's probably next, and how great of a performance that was. Are you this way, kind of like, okay, I know the moral victory was great. It kind of maybe set you up for this. It's the belt now. That's it. I want to be UFC Featherweight Championship. I am zeroly happily with a moral victory. I want the belt. Do you kind of have that going into this?
Yeah, I'm not in it for a moral victory for sure, and it's partly about becoming the featherweight champion. It's also partly just to beat Amanda Nunes, like to beat someone that a lot of people, holds in such high regard, myself included,
Right.
I think it just really stamps, puts a big, first stamp on a first probably like major win, of my career. Although in my book, I've beaten some pretty awesome women through the years, but for the rest of the world, they're really counting me out, and to beat Amanda would really like make people look and say, oh, that's unexpected, and maybe start to show a little bit more appreciation for the division, I guess.
Right. That, and like, have you thought about too also what the victory means to Orlando, the Jungle MMA and Fitness, what it means to Canada? Kind of, of course, I know you've seen it. The artwork is you with the Canada flag on your face and her Brazilian flag. Like, what it means to so many people in Canada and Orlando, and everyone that we talk to, and especially the Jungle. Have you put into, reaction of like, wow, like this could change a lot of young females in Canada be like, wow, I can be a UFC champion one day. Like, have you thought of that at all?
I mean, I know that there's going to be a lot of things different when I have the belt and bring it home, as far as like opportunities that open up. But yeah, I feel like I have to take that belt on a tour. When I bring it back to Florida, I need to not just shell up at the house and eat snacks. I want to go back to the gym and just like let people enjoy it. And maybe one day when the pandemic's over, I can travel to Canada and do a little tour, meet some fans, and bring the belt around to let everyone soak it in. I really feel like the belt, like when I won, I have my Invicta belt behind me here. When I won that Invicta belt, it was like I have to let everyone that's ever been a part of the process enjoy this moment too. Like everyone that's ever been in the training room with me, everyone that supported me. It's all, everyone can soak it in together, not just me. So.
Right. We have a nice studio here. There's actually a picture of Felicia Spencer from like 2018. There's some Megan Colley, but Dean Thomas. A lot of people up here. So it would be cool to kind of have a little UFC championship belt in the background for the podcast of the future. Two last things. One, they made a lot of UFC 50 announcements, a lot of fights. Sugar Shane O'Malley's on the card now, Chase Hooper, Sterling in the co-main event. Is it cool? Does it mean anything to you to kind of, now the card has a lot of momentum to it. It has a lot of good things. Like UFC 249 to me, like was a great build. All these fights, all these fighters were so happy. You can tell like the momentum of the card with like knockouts and performances just kept on going up. Do you feel that as a fighter, or you're kind of in a good way, maybe in a cocoon, Amanda Nunes, my fight, that's it. That's all that matters.
It's pretty much like just focused on my fight, and whether there were like big names and exciting like fights put together. I know like at UFC 250, no matter who's on that card, they're gonna show up to fight and they're gonna put on a great performance, like whether you know their name or not. So the fact that we're having more names on the card, I'm sure make people happier to buy the pay-per-view, but
right.
But honestly, like if anyone's in the UFC, they're there to put on performance, and a lot of the time the shows that have less known fighters tend to be more exciting because they're trying to put more on the line, they're taking more risks sometimes, or just something that you haven't seen before. So yeah, but it is cool to be a part of there's a lot of people fighting before me. It's kind of insane that I'm the main event and they're on the, they're billed under me, but it'll be unfortunately I don't really watch fights that much in the back room, so I'll probably have to watch it after. But yeah, it's all good though.
I remember it was probably a couple pay-per-views or a couple fights ago for you. It was Frankie and Max as the main event. You're like, I can't wait for that main event. Now you're the main event. You versus Amanda Nunes. Your first amateur fight, 2012. Took a loss that day. Am I right on that?
Yes, a split decision.
Split decision. Just how in a 1 minute wrap up bow of 2012 first amateur fight took a split decision loss to 2020 out of a global pandemic, fighting maybe the greatest female fighter of all time in a championship featherweight UFC fight. Like, how can you put a bow on that amazing 8-year run? It's a story. It's a book. It's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just about the mentality, just dedication, and I guess I always say consistency is the key. Like, things are up and down sometimes with what your opportunities are, but if you just keep putting in the work, if you're passionate about it, like if you would do this, whether you got really paid to do it or not, like this is, something that you can look forward to every day. Obviously, as an amateur, you can't get paid for it, but not that I would probably still fight, actually fight, if I didn't get paid, but the training would always be there, So I love the training process, and the fight process is kind of unique, and I love pushing myself to the night of the event. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind, especially since I turned pro, and the opportunities after the first couple of fights started to really just be available, and I was being very active and consistent. Like every year I look back on, I'm like, holy shit, like, I got signed to Invicta, and then like my dream was to be like on the poster main event would be a dream come true, and then main event happened, title happened, UFC happened, got married, all kinds of crazy stuff keeps happening. Fight a legend last summer, fight another legend this summer. Like, it's just everyone's always like, oh man, it's been a crazy year. I'm like, yeah, it's always a crazy year for me. I don't know, like it just keeps getting better and better. We'll see what happens next year.
Absolutely, we will. We're so excited. It's fight week for you, Felicia. We're so happy and excited for you. Us huge fans here at Fight Bananas of Felicia Spencer. We can't wait. Good skill Saturday night. We cannot wait for the main event, you versus Amanda Nunes for the featherweight UFC Championship. And we'll talk to you soon with the championship live in studio.
Have my other belt on this side.
There you go.
My new belt. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Thank you, Felicia. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye.